What's up everybody, Maran here for another weekly update. So first, Happy New Year to all of you. Hopefully your 2021 is off to a good start. And so we got a good amount of news stories here this week, a little lighter than usual, but that's just because of the holidays and whatnot, but still some pretty interesting stuff. So the first thing here, we have a nice little surprise, unofficially, but we have some leaked pictures here that surfaced on various Instagram pages and websites this week of what appears to be the new Ford Fusion Active. And so this is the vehicle that's been rumored for a while to be a Subaru Outback competitor that they're supposedly working on at Ford, and it kind of skirts around the whole, like, we're not doing cars anymore, but this is kind of a car because obviously like, the Subaru Outback isn't an actual SUV, it's a lifted wagon, and so that's basically what this Fusion Active is rumored to be. We'll see, but I mean, in the past we saw some hacked up mules that were like the European Ford Focus wagon that was lengthened out and stuff. Now we see what appears to be an actual, close to production version, and so front end looks very sharp. The back end confirms the wagon-like shape. It will actually compete with the Subaru Outback. The interior shows off a high-tech infotainment display that stretches across most of the dashboard, which is pretty cool. You also will see the signature Ford rotary gear selectors present as well, confirming that this is in fact a Ford. And this will be a global model. So, in other parts of the world it's called the Mondeo. And so that's how this will most likely continue on as well. And I think that's part of what helps to justify the cost with Ford, and I think they also sold, still several 100,000 Fusions every year, and so it was a good seller. So it's kind of a weird thing that they would kill it off anyway, aside from them just being like, we're going all trucks and stuff. But, I think that this will be kind of a nice little concession, not only to those who miss the old Fusion, but also to people who, maybe were interested in something like the Ford Flex. I know there weren't very many people interested in those. But, this kind of would fill that void a little bit as well. And so, yeah, it's kind of cool that they're, working on that. And we got a little surprise sneak peek at it here. Not sure when we're going to actually see the final production version of this, though, because, again, this is unofficial. So, Ford is not putting anything out there yet. So who knows? It could be still, over a year away. We'll have to wait and see. But it does seem fairly polished. That, this would be something that's going to be, pretty close to being done. I mean, they have camo on it and stuff like that, so we'll just have to wait and see. But interesting to see that nonetheless. And there's a new report this week from Wheels Magazine in Australia that's talking about the future of the Camaro. So they have anonymous sources that claim that the current gen Camaro's life has been extended by 2 years. And so it was originally supposedly going to be discontinued in 2024. And so now it's going to be like 2026, which would then give it an 11-year lifespan for the current gen Camaro, since it was revealed and debuted in the 2015 calendar year for 2016 model year. So, that's about on par with other previous generations of the Camaro, though, so it wouldn't be out of character. And so stretching it out to 2026, means a couple of things. First, it means that you're going to have the Camaro have a longer life, and it's going to continue to stick around if this report is true, and you'll be able to buy a new Camaro here for the next 5 years. It also means, though, that they're kind of delaying a new version, which I'm sure Camaro fans, many of them probably want to see a new version, and this is disappointing news. So it just depends on how you look at it. So as anyone's guess, though, as far as what's going to happen in the Camaro's future after 2026, I mean, at that point, with how GM's going full throttle with electric stuff, if the next-gen Camaro isn't electric, if there even is a next-gen Camaro, I would be shocked if it wasn't electric. And if it, and I mean, honestly, that's a long ways off, too. I mean, in 5 years, a lot of things can change, so we'll have to wait and see, how that all plays out, how things play out in the world in the next 5 years and stuff. But interesting to hear that nonetheless. And I mean, the current gen Camaro is great. I still think it's the best driving of the bunch out of the three muscle cars. As long as you can live with the visibility and the smaller dimensions, I think it still is fantastic. And hopefully they maybe do some new special editions or something to drum up a little bit more interest here in the next couple of years. We'll have to wait and see, but interesting to hear that. GM, though, they are working on lots of other vehicles, though, so clearly the Camaro is just not a priority for them. And a lot of this stuff is on the fast track, and it's all electrified stuff for the most part. So, according to Bloomberg, at the online 2021 CES show, which is happening in the second week of January here, GM will be reportedly showing a video at the end of their keynote. I guess their CEO, Mary Barra, is going to be the keynote speaker that's going to open up CES. And so after their speeches and stuff, there's going to be a little video that's going to play, supposedly, that will show glimpses of several future electrified products, including a plug-in Chevrolet pickup, some Cadillac models, and vehicles for other brands. So the Chevy pickup, we already saw kind of a little bit of a hint of that in an investor presentation, I believe, that they did, not too long ago. So that's most likely, hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that. They didn't confirm whether or not we're going to actually see a full product reveal or anything, or, I'm sure it's just going to be little teaser clips here and there, since a lot of this stuff is still pretty far out. But, I think as far as vehicles for other brands, there's maybe a decent hope that we see the normal SUV version of the Hummer EV, possibly at CES, considering it's going to be basically the same thing as the truck, just with, the cap on the back, essentially. So, maybe they could show us that. It could be the other brands, and I think instead of giving it away, they couldn't say Hummer because there's only one other Hummer in the pipeline right now, and that would have given that away. But so we'll have to wait and see, but an interesting report there nonetheless, and at least we don't have much longer to wait to see what they actually show us at CES. Hyundai's N division is also going to be teasing stuff here. They already started teasing the Kona N with some Christmassy posts, actually, even though I think they were posted after Christmas, strangely. But anyway, one shows a roof rack, and the other one shows a hood that matches up with the new hood on the refreshed Kona that just came out a few months ago. So this confirms we're looking at a Kona N. And on the product timeline, the Kona N was the next N up to be revealed as well. Then the Elantra N's coming soon after that. But, so yeah. It's nice they're doing some teasers, and I'm hoping we get, a full reveal here relatively soon so that, we can see what the Kona N's about. The rumors are that it'll probably most likely get the Veloster N's motor, but it could get the 2.5-liter newer turbo motor, which does closer to 300 horsepower. So we'll have to wait and see if it's 275 or 300, but still should be a pretty awesome model. Although I'm certainly more excited for the Elantra N, because I think that's going to have a lot more space and be a lot more usable for people. But anyway, awesome to see they're giving it to the Kona as well, and so looking forward to seeing more of that. BMW continues on with the teasers here. They're teasing their next performance model called the M5 CS, which is going to be a 2021 model here. And so it falls in line with a lot of the other CS models where it's very stripped down. And so it does get a little bit more power too. So it gets 18 more horsepower than the regular competition package for the M5 for 635 horsepower total. And there's some more significant improvements though. The biggest of which is that it's lost 154 pounds, which is pretty impressive for a luxury, sports sedan like that. And so some of the changes, they say, they didn't reveal all of the changes they did, but they dropped the weight using a carbon fiber hood. The carbon fiber seats from the new M3 are going to be present, and they say there's a new 4-seat configuration for the M5, which I guess puts 2 lighter bucket seats in the back instead of having a bench, and that we could save some weight. Maybe it's just 4 of those M3 seats, and that's it. That'd be kind of cool. But that's interesting. Other improvements are the suspension has been tuned on the Nürburgring, of course, like everything else, and it's going to have Pirelli P0 Corsa tires that are specifically made for this vehicle. They're going to be on forged wheels that are painted gold. There's going to be other gold accents on the car, and even yellow daytime running lights, which is kind of a little nod to the motorsports yellow headlights that you've seen on race cars in the past few decades. And so that's a cool little touch that I wasn't expecting, and we'll kind of separate this because you don't see yellow DRLs. Everything's white DRLs on the road these days. So that's pretty cool. It also gets carbon ceramic brakes that are usually an option on M5s. Those are going to be standard. And so there's going to be a full reveal in January here. So cool to see that. And moving on to something that isn't totally confirmed yet, but a little bit more information here on the new V8 version of the Wrangler. So a user named TCMC on the JLWranglerforums.com checked on his incoming Wrangler Rubicon 392 that's on order and saw that a price was listed for the first time. So we don't have a pricing officially yet from Jeep for the V8 Wrangler, but they said that's going to be coming here relatively soon. But in the meantime, so accounting for the options that he listed on the forums that he's planning on getting on his, it was showing an MSRP of $77,055. Now, so that was the only options he listed were the dual top roof package and the tow package. So that is a pretty big jump. You might say 77 grand for a Wrangler, and I kind of thought the same thing. But you kind of have to look at it in context a little bit because the V8 version is going to be coming standard with a lot of stuff that doesn't come standard on a regular Rubicon. So, things like the automatic transmission, for example, that's like a $2,000 option on a, V6 Wrangler. That's going to be standard. Upgraded headlights are going to be standard. The infotainment being the bigger screen is standard. That's also still an option on the Rubicon. So you start adding up all those things and you start to close that price gap. And you look at like a fully loaded Rubicon, which is basically kind of what these V8s will be. And then you add in the other exclusive stuff for the V8. In addition to the V8 engine and all the beefing up they had to do for that, it also is going to have a dual mode exhaust and various other things, adaptations for the V8 so that it still breathes well in off-roading conditions and things like that. So a lot of other things go into it, but in reality, you're still looking at a price difference of, maybe $10,000 or so, maybe a little bit more or a little less for a V8 Wrangler over comparable V6. And so that's expensive. Wrangler prices just have gone through the roof. I feel like it's like double what it used to be for a Wrangler. But at the same rate, I mean, there have been some discounts on Jeeps, it seems, recently. The Gladiators haven't been selling super hotly. So there have been significant discounts available. But I think when you think about, the fanatical Jeep fans out there that are already paying $60,000 for Wranglers and Gladiators and stuff, those people combined with the pent-up demand for V8 Wranglers, that's been something a lot of people have been wanting for a long time. That could also kind of drive up that demand. I mean, there is still a little bit of competition within Jeep, though, because you still have, I think you can get a Grand Cherokee SRT for about the same money. So there is some of that competition going on. It just really comes down to, do you want a V8 Wrangler or not? And if you do, you're going to have some pretty deep pockets. But, it's awesome that they're offering it at all, and that's just what I'm excited about. But I'm sure the Ford fans, and especially Ford themselves, are breathing a little bit easier now, being like, oh, well, we don't have a V8 for the Bronco, but at least we don't have to try and sell people a $75,000 Bronco or something. So I think, maybe Ford can relax a little bit more, because if this was priced to be cheaper and really competitive, I could see Ford being a little bit nervous, with those fully loaded Broncos not having a V8. And, being, close if the pricing was there. But it seems like this is going to be a hefty premium, but one that I'm sure many Jeep fans will be happy to pay. But anyway, interesting to hear that. Hopefully we get final confirmation. These numbers could be off still, so hopefully we get final confirmation here in the next couple of weeks. And the last little report and rumor here for the week is Car Magazine claims to have anonymous sources that have info on Ferrari's upcoming SUVs. Yes, plural SUVs. So, two of them are going to be electric supposedly, and then there's the Purosangue, which is going to be the third. So there's going to be three SUVs, 2 electric, 1 gas, in the 2020s here, according to this report. So the report claims one is codenamed F244, and that's due in 2024, and the other is codenamed F245, and that's due supposedly in 2026. And so they're supposedly only going to be doing 610 horsepower in their base forms, which is kind of surprising considering it's a Ferrari electric vehicle. You would think that it would be 1,000 horsepower or something, since that's what you're seeing all these. I mean, Tesla and all these are doing crazy fast stuff. You'd think that Ferrari would want to be in on that and be higher, but I'm guessing there'll be higher options you can get and things like that. But anyway, so that's all interesting. That's still several years away, so we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. But before those come, the report also did include a little info about the Purosangue, including that they say it's scheduled to come in 2022, and then the report claims a V12 is going to be available at first, and then the hybrid V8 will come after that. And that's exciting because it was previously just reported that it was going to be V8 hybrid only, and that's it. So if they do, give it the V12 here, at least at first for a brief amount of time, it's a better successor to the GTC4 Lusso, in my opinion, because that's what that had, and that's part of what made that vehicle so amazing. And so you can kind of maybe sway some of those people into the Purosangue if you at least have that amazing sounding V12. But we'll have to see if that turns out to be true as well. This is, again, just an anonymous source reporting this stuff. So we'll have to wait and see, but I hope that part at least is true. Tesla this week has a new update here for vehicles built in 2019 and 2020 that includes a Boombox feature. And Tesla, they're so quirky, and Very unique with how they do things in the car world. And so anyway, this Boombox feature uses the speaker that plays the pedestrian warning hum whenever the vehicle is moving to alert people, since it's silent and it needs a sound. That's a federally required thing. You'll see that in any hybrid and stuff. They all kind of do a hum and stuff. So Tesla, though, I guess they figured out that there aren't really very strict laws as far as what you do for a car horn. So you can kind of do basically whatever you want within reason. So although this might not be within reason to some people, but so that speaker that plays that warning hum, that now can play whatever you want. And I truly mean whatever you want. So there's a few preloaded sounds you can put in, including La Cucaracha, farts, and goat sounds, just to name a few. There's several other options you can pick from. So that's just crazy on its own. To even have, that kind of stuff would be pretty hilarious. But then on top of that, you can load 5 sounds onto a USB stick and have it play those as well if you'd like. So you could literally have anything. And that's where it gets a little more scary, because you could have people playing whatever they want to play. And so that we'll have to see how long that lasts. I feel like that might be a feature that they backpedal on pretty quickly, because that could get kind of ugly pretty quickly as well. But there could be some fun applications. Like Autovlog thought up a funny one. Like, for example, you could have it playing the ice cream truck music whenever you're rolling through a neighborhood, which would be hilarious, but also very mean to all the kids that get excited and then don't get ice cream. But, so stuff like that, I could see lighthearted applications like that being good, but I feel like this has potential to be abused in a bad way as well. And so we'll have to see, like I said, how long this sticks around, but leave it to Tesla to, do stuff like this, the bold stuff that no one else would even dream of doing, and Tesla's doing it. But one other little thing, if you're curious, is while you're actually driving, the horn does work as a normal horn, and that is something I think they have to do, because you don't want it playing silly stuff whenever you're actually in an emergency scenario. So when you press the horn, when you're stopped, it will play this music. It also will play it, you can have it, like I said, just programmed, so when you're automatically driving, it'll play it. It also works as like a boombox, like they named the feature as, so that when you're at tailgates and stuff, you can, play your music through that and, kind of be the life of the party with your Tesla as well. So interesting there. Like I said, we'll see how well that, plays out for Tesla, but interesting nonetheless. And lastly, last little news story this week is about a car ending its life cycle here. So it's not a car sold in America, but Alfa Romeo has discontinued the Giulietta this week. The last one was already built about 2 weeks ago. And so it joins the 4C, which also was just discontinued here not too long ago. And so it's kind of sad to see Alfa Romeo getting rid of their little hatchback. It doesn't sound like they're going to replace it with another hatchback either, just because even in Europe, I guess, people still are preferring SUVs over hatchbacks more and more. And so it sounds like the production version of the Tonale that we'll be getting in the rest of the world here as well, that will most likely be the replacement for the Giulietta, which is kind of a bummer, though, because I feel like a little hatchback would be really cool. I've never driven the Giulietta. I saw plenty of them on my couple little trips to Europe, but it just was a good-looking little hatchback, and it's a bummer that Alfa Romeo never brought it here to the States and, just has decided not to continue building it. But it is what it is. Hopefully we'll see the Tonale. It does look very good from the concept version, so hopefully the production version looks just as striking and is also fairly dynamic for what it is, and hopefully it'll be, a good little vehicle to fill the spot where the Giulietta has left. But yes, that's it for all the news this week, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this weekly update. Let me know your thoughts and everything in the comments below. Please continue to stay safe and healthy, and I hope you have a very good 2021 here. I hope we all do. And anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.